We are 9 stages in to the Giro d'Italia, and it is time for the second rest day. And it's just as well because there is a lot to catch up on. There has been so much to talk about.
They certainly have. So let's drill down just a little bit further and pull out 5 key points of the first week of the race over a nice glass of Chianti, because of course we are in Chianti country here in Tuscany. Cheers, Si.
Cheers, mate.
Salve. First up for me, Si, it has to be the performances of Andre Greipel. We can't, of course, discount the 2 stage wins from a very impressive Marcel Kittel, but to me, Greipel is a rider that is always overlooked, and it's kind of unfair.
Well, yeah, considering that he's won 19 Grand Tour stages, he is Mr. Consistent. The last time he didn't win a stage at a Grand Tour that he entered, I think we've got to go back like 7 years. But yet, like you say, his wins do tend to be overshadowed. I mean, Marcel Kittel's gone home.
I know. Well, he's well into his 30s, but he's key. I think it's the consistency of his performance. He's got a wonderful Lotto Soudal squad who rally around him. But let's take both stage wins. The first stage win, that remarkable turn of speed up that drag, gapped the rest of the field while a lot of the sprinters had already dropped. And then the second stage win, sandwiched, of course, between that famous Tim Wellens win, was well, he just wove his way so deftly through the peloton. He can still do it all. Fantastic to see.
Yeah, the question is, how many more wins is he going to get in this Giro d'Italia?
I wouldn't bet against him.
Now, Matt, one of the things that I wanted to talk about has perhaps gone a little bit under the radar compared to Andre Greipel's antics. I don't know whether any of you noticed as well, but thanks very much. On stage 6, that was won by Tim Wellens on that hilltop finish, Jakob Fuglsang had attacked the main group of favourites, presumably to set Nibali up. But Nibali didn't make it across. It was Tom Dumoulin who made it across. Now, call me a traditionalist, but I would have expected Fuglsang to have sat on that. But he didn't. He helped drive the break, which I think is pretty much an attack on his team leader, Vincenzo Nibali.
It was rather strange. I mean, in the first instance, I think it was a good idea to get Fuglsang up the road, to wait for Nibali to try and get across. We know that's a classic textbook move. But when Dumoulin got across, there were some really strong pulls that Fuglsang made on the front, on that false flat section, that really drew that group clear. And then, of course, there was that rather abortive attempt, you know, really criticising the press of Nibali to get across on a false flat. We've spoken to a few riders in the peloton who thought it was a little bit strange.
Attacking into a headwind on a downhill.
It was, but yeah, I think, as we know, there's definitely a little bit of needle in the Astana camp.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of digging, and it turns out there is possibly a bit of friction between Nibali and Fuglsang. But also, one thing I noticed on their Astana team car, on the potentially decisive stage 8, Fuglsang, despite being second on GC, his bike on the team car was in 3rd position, behind not only Nibali, but also Scarponi as well.
But we do know one thing, Nibali does thrive under pressure, and Astana, on many occasions, is a bit of a pressure cooker, but he performs, and sometimes this is a tactic employed by the DS Martinelli.
Interesting.
The thing I'd like to talk about briefly is the attacking style of Alejandro Valverde. I spoke to him ahead of the race. We all know it's the first time that he's ever ridden the Giro, but I just love the way he attacks. I know he's a controversial figure, but the way he got stuck into to stage 8 on those Strada Bianca roads up the Alpe d'Huez, and as soon as it got rough, he attacked.
Some might say he went potty.
He certainly did go potty. He went potty enough to split that group asunder, and didn't, to be fair, get a lot of assistance from the other GC protagonists. And I like the way that he hasn't waited to the big climbs, he's waited to the terrain that suits him most, the short punchy climbs, to go out on the attack. Really like it.
Absolutely. Now, we know a lot of the GC riders are holding back, ready for that final week. And so, yeah, credit to Valverde for socking it to them at the first available opportunity.
He's made the racing pretty exciting.
Now, very fresh in our minds is Stage 9's time trial. A race of 2 halves, those that competed in dry roads and those that competed in the wet. That's not to take anything away from Primož Roglič, because that was a great ride, and clearly he's got good form. We saw that with second in the prologue time trial. But what about the GC battle, fought out on some really treacherous roads in terrible conditions?
Yeah, it was absolutely atrocious, pouring down with rain, but the standout ride amongst the GC protagonists, Bob Jungels. I mean, 6th place, only about 45 seconds behind Roglič. That's an amazing ride, and I don't think it would be unfair to say that he possibly could have won the TT stage had it not been for the rain. But then the other standout performance, without a shadow of a doubt, is Gianluca Brambilla of Etixx Quickstep, of course, in the jersey by virtue of his wonderful stage win the day before at Arezzo. But he beat Nibali, Valverde, et al., even Tom Dumoulin. So that was a superb ride by Brambilla to salvage the jersey, but only by 1 second from Jungels going into the rest day. I mean, it's perfectly poised, wonderful stuff.
Yeah, Brambilla and Jungels, teammates, maybe their tyres were amazing. Who knows?
Something was amazing, but yeah.
They must have gone around corners like they were on rails.
We've had a little look back, let's have a look forward. We're on the rest day today, that will be gratefully received by the riders. And then the first day back, 219 Ks, really undulating, pretty hilly terrain. So that could prove to be a little bit of a shake-up. But then the riders will be thankful for a couple of flatter stages for the sprinters to shine again. And then things start to get really quite difficult and challenging.
They do. So there's a couple of really nasty looking mountain stages before a time trial up a mountain.
That's brutal.
Yeah, so knowing what we know now after 9 stages, who do you think is going to be in the pink jersey on our rest day wrap-up in a week's time?
I didn't tip him at the start of the race, so I'll admit to that, everybody that's watching, but I'm going for Mikel Landa, because the thing that impressed me about him is he's quite fresh coming into this race. He's raced probably the least amount of all the riders, but he did a really superb time trial. And he's not noted for his time trial in Pro S. And of course the next TT is a really huge one. He just looks good. I think he's going to be the man in pink for Team Sky.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to tip my man, Tom Dumoulin. No,
Fair enough.
No, I'm not actually, no. I think Tom maybe is not going to be in the mix next week, unfortunately. But I would think Nibali. On current form, I think Nibali can probably just get it out there. 2 mountain stages, he's attacking, good team, individual time trial.
And he's under pressure, and he does perform under pressure. I think the way that it's poised going into the second part of the race, we've got Nibali, Valverde and Landa, the 3 outstanding favourites, all within 30 seconds. It's wonderfully poised.
Right, Matt, we better leave things there because I think we're about to get jet washed by giant Alpecin.
No, it's a bit active.
Yeah, so we don't want to leave you without any more Giro content. So if you click just up there, you get through to our playlist where everything that we filmed from the Giro in 2016 is in one handy spot.
And for all things cycling, on a weekly basis, how about clicking just down there for the GCN Show?
Oh, and then finally, before going to either of those, do make sure you subscribe to GCN. To do that, just click on the globe, which might be there.
Meanwhile, ciao!
Half a bottle to go, mate. Salve.
I'm in for the long haul.